Good
Good morning, good morning,
guys.
good morning, good
Good
morning.
morning, everyone.
How are you folks doing? Good to see you folks. Great to see you guys, as a matter of fact.
Welcome to FYI. For your information, I'm George Plans alongside Sherry Duncan. This
Yeah,
wonderful,
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
morning, guys. It is November 2nd. Jesus. I still want to be in October.
Yeah, believe it or not.
2nd of November, guys. You know, I can't believe that we were just
Merry Christmas.
we're just there.
Merry
Like
Christmas,
we're at
guys.
the very
Merry
end of
Christmas.
it all. You know, I've been
Yeah,
looking at the comment
yeah.
section. You know, I missed you guys tremendously yesterday
Merry
morning.
Christmas.
And here we are, you know.
Yeah. Trying to get my red tea here this morning. I don't understand.
It's like I think it's raspberry and something
Little
else.
upset.
Raspberry
Apparently,
and something.
you with them boys still. Red tea is good. 2nd of November morning.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
We
with
want
the
a red tea. Don't come around with the red tea.
It's raspberry. I don't know. That's what
Yeah,
they said.
raspberry, all right.
Raspberry and something else.
Make it first and last morning in red
But
tea.
it's blackberry and raspberry infusion. Enjoy.
I blackberry don't do it.
Blackberry and raspberry
The rasp
infusion
is
is an
really red.
infusion.
Them rasp is a lot
You
of
like proper
carbonate.
things, you know. Is
I
you
like
want.
the red. It's red to me. If it could be black or yellow or green and still be proper, we can take it. It's red for me.
I see Clyde McPherson is on this morning.
Hi, Clive. Yeah, Paulette Graves is here too, guys.
Yolanda
Good morning.
Yolanda just said, you both looking awesome.
Oh, true.
Thank you.
Throw my hair back for that one. Like my hair for that. Yeah,
I comb my hair with my fingers every god day. I kid you not. It takes me 0.5 seconds. Straight out, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's
how we do it. That's how we do it, folks.
Don't worry. I see Roxanne is joining us this morning, all the way from region number 7. Morning to you, Roxanne, Garaway, and all of you, all the folks that join us from the areas that.
Yeah, Dwayne Hall is here too.
Where's Dwayne?
You know, my grandmother's maiden name is Hall.
Oh, really?
You know, family, Dwayne, family. My grandmother's maiden name.
I have one friend as Hall, actually.
Yeah.
Good people. if that friend actually represents Hall, it's really good people.
Yes. Solid.
Yes, very much.
With Anthony Bovell joining us from St. Kitts and Nevis in the house.
Sure, know your business.
Properness. I know all way in business. All in that story is known.
I see Warren Fear is on this morning. Guys, yesterday morning, I got so many messages and phone calls. I'm like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
Our technical guy phone got a loud hear that. Give you a
Edward Bruce, good morning to you, Edward. How are you doing? I hope all is well with you and Jane Ogle said a blessed morning to Anthurs Sheridan Juretta and all the FYI family.
Happy I was seen this morning.
He said he's happy he was seen.
Usually I'm short. Sharon Alfonso, good to have you, Sharon. Folks, it is November. Last month, Rita, was a horrible month for us. Still trying to grapple some of our bills. This is our anniversary month.
Don't let the smile fool you, right?
This is our anniversary month, folks. This is our anniversary month. So smash that emoji button, partner with us, and share the life as well. And heavy on the partner with us. Heavy on the partner with us.
Make sure that you
heavy on that.
Right?
Heavy on that.
Right? Goodness.
Right? Heavy on that. All right? Take your time. Right? Heavy on that. Take your time. Lots of stuff to cover, right? In the morning papers.
We do have a lot of cover in the morning papers. I just want to remind you guys we are going to be making sure that we bring in every aspect of your conversation and all of those things, right? So I see, Clyde McPherson saying something there. I don't know. Sherrod can help me. BJ calling Mark Phillips a parasite. What's going on there?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. I probably missed that one. I was too much engaged with everything else. I was engaged with everything else.
You see where them boys don't want you for long,
They don't want you for long.
No. You gotta be pure blood. They stick around for long. Them just come. You get fed up with them. It's a parasite. I gotta tell Mark that. I gotta tell you that.
Mark coming out with a statement.
Yeah.
I see Margaret Nelson and Juretta. It's Mr. Amsterdam's court.
Yes.
We'll be covering that.
And as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking with him later on this morning. After he exits court, he's going to be in court around 8:30 this morning. And we're going to be talking with him. We're going to bring that conversation with you later on in the day. We're going to be sitting down and talking with Mr. Amsterdam, Kadaki Amsterdam from Buxton Mornings and all the other stuff that
they don't like him,
Kadaki's involved in.
They don't like anybody to have a voice contrary to what they're preaching.
Which means they're like we later.
I think they hate you. They're getting up to they're at the point of dislike for me right now.
That's how you know you're doing things proper. They can't make up their mind. I think that they got you think because of the gender. They want to come out too hard.
I think so,
Because you're a woman, they want to think too hard.
Got the indigenous ancestry, and so they want jab it a little bit,
And then they're getting a bad rap with women. Well, they always had a bad rap with women, and they can shake that because they're who they be.
Yeah.
They is who they is. Right? They is who they is. And we're going to be talking with Kadaki later on in the morning, and we're going to bring that to you either during the podcast or later on this evening.
Jack, we don't take it light, though. I think somebody complained to me that he was talking to boredness. And he had to just jump my name into the conversation. When you're on their mind.
Yeah. In the head and the parent.
Right. Oh, goodness. Yes, man, for garden people, it's blight on Guyana. That's what it is. How's it tasting, Sherrod?
I like my sour and drink alone. I like it with
you don't like this blackberry and raspberry infusion?
It's different.
It's different. It's an acquired taste?
It's different. I ain't with them. I ain't with them. I can drink it because it's here, but I ain't with them. Right?
You need to learn proper things. You see, that's why I can't take you to that restaurant and buy that steak for you.
Oh, yes. The Wagyu. The Wagyu, folks. The Wagyu.
Just be like, I want back my salt beef.
The Wagyu is the Wagyu for us. How are you guys doing out there? Trust you guys will have a great evening. The morning is after running start. And we wish you guys a productive day. Joe Ben and Glenford Gordon, Mayborn King. I'm always thinking Joe Ben is Joe Biden. So if you're hiding out there. Morning, Prezzo. Amabel Clement. And all the other folks joining us. Great to see you. See Glenford Gordon. Folks, things right around here. Our cereal bottle empty.
It's not empty.
Don't block it.
It's not empty.
Oh, cereal can? Things come overnight. Things come.
I need to keep you in the loop.
Somebody tunneling here last night. Then take the bring. The tunneling here, boy. Talk about the tunneling story. Got implications. Folks, lots happening. Share the live, smash the emoji button for us. Julie, want to have a go at it? What's happening in the morning paper?
Sure, is going to start it off.
I can start it out.
Don't worry.
All right, so we're starting with Kevin Alcock. We've been talking about this issue of this sportsman, boxer, who was overseas, flying the flag of our country, flying it high too, and he got injured and didn't have a physiotherapist, didn't have a doctor on the team.
Yeah.
And that is a norm. Well, after the Boxing Association cussed you out, the Olympic Association cussed you out.
Everybody.
Well,
Nicolette didn't, and I have to give credit to her for
standing up for him, doing the quite opposite.
She stood up for him, but she did
Sportswoman Nicolette
Finance, right?
Yeah.
And when Nicolette spoke, there's something about when persons like her speak out, it brings a different dynamic to the conversation altogether, because she's nothing political. She's not aligned politically. She has spent her entire life dedicated to making sure that she have the Guyana flag flying high when it comes to sports, and her dedication to that, to sports altogether, it's just phenomenal. She spoke, and she spoke very passionately. I felt every word when I read what she wrote there. I felt every word, and that's something that bothered her very, very deeply. And now everybody is, seeing a different angle. Suddenly, Keith want have a point.
Yeah, and as the headline said there, thanks for the headline again. Yasin, this is Kejuman Yasin of the Olympic Association, Guyana Olympic Association, says that the association should shoulder some of the blame. But if you ask her really truly, they're transparent, because that situation could have gone so south. They didn't have a scale. The entire team didn't have a scale to be weighed. He didn't know he was a little overweight to compete in one of the levels of boxing there. And also, they had to be relying on the physiotherapists and some other medical staff of some other teams.
Yeah.
Right? Of some other teams.
That's crazy.
It makes me wonder, like 2 years in, what Ramson do all this time?
Yeah.
Right? You've had people go and comment. So
I remember the Molly concert, and so I don't know about you.
Molly stage.
Yeah, I did hear persons give kudos at that concert on stage, whilst like intermittently, person while in between 100 strap and Molly get poppy there, kudos to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport.
Oh, they're a fantastic job. They're distracted, apparently. They're distracted. That's it. That's the issue there.
No, but this particular story just goes to show the depth, and I think that everyone needs to understand, and we've been saying this even prior to this, all that was said from Mr. Alcock himself and Nicolette Finance and everyone. We've been saying that sports, particularly, you understand the difficulty that the country had prior governments and so could say, well, we didn't have the money, and so I'm not talking about one, I'm talking about all the prior governments.
I don't know if
they didn't have the money and all that. What do you say now? Like, what do you say?
The problem is Ramson, because he's not a sport person, and going to the gym, it doesn't make you, an expert in sports by any means. And I think that's one of the challenge. And Ramson is just back. It's very strange because he's just back. Well, at least when he was appointed and installed, he had just come back from doing studies in oil and gas. But they said, well, you're not ready for oil and gas, but yet do sports and culture. And I just don't know. That seems to be one of the most disastrous things. And it speaks to the judgment of the people who did the appointing, Mr. Jack Dio and comrades, And it is what it is now.
It was Ali.
Right?
The point.
What was Ali?
But I get your point, Sharon. I get your point. But it's a very serious situation. About boxing, everybody follow. I've known and I follow boxing since I was a child, because my mother kind of liked the sport and all of those things. But boxing, there's one thing that you don't miss is when it comes to weight class and boxing. That's the whole essence of the sport. You don't box if you're not boxing with your weight class and all of that. So, guys, to say that was an oversight or whatever, it's just completely horrible. But I do note what is being said here, that the Guyana Olympic Association, should shoulder some of the responsibility. But there's a bigger issue at hand there, a very huge issue that we're looking at.
Yeah.
As it is right now, Share, this culture center is still in chaos. If you go over to the West Coast, when it comes to the track over there, it's pure madness. I mean, the PvP does the most, and so when they went to Linden to try to beat your chest about going and actually starting back a project, starting back works on a project rather. It's nonsense. All the comments that came with that is absolute nonsense. They need to get their act together when it comes to sports.
And quick.
It's all hands on deck for me with sports. Young people need activities to do, and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
All these persons, all these individuals that have dedicated their lives without money is nothing. It's no play. I'm very passionate about this because listen, people go out there, and in order for them to actually train athletes and all of those things, they don't get paid to do those things. People go out there and they volunteer their time to make sure that those persons go out there and they have something to do and that they excel at what they do. Athletes have to leave work. They work at 9 to 5, and then they have to come back and go and train in the evening, train in the morning before they go to work. It's a struggle, and we need to get to the point that we have a system and a structure in place that pays athletes. And if we can't fix this, just making sure that they go out there and have the relevant personnel and all of that, we're in a very dangerous place in sports. And I think it's embarrassing that we have the islands just making rings around us when we have just as talented athletes right at home here.
Correct. Another issue we're tracking on the morning papers is the fact that we're expecting the first shipment of Brazilian green dwarf coconuts to arrive in Ghana. Somebody doing an experimentation here, right? Brazilian green dwarf coconut. So the word dwarf says it's a smaller version. It's a shorter version of the coconuts that we expect. And things are tight now. It's dwarf coconuts.
Sure, that's nothing.
Must be more expensive than the giant coconuts that we produce here. You gotta be using dwarf coconuts. So they bring in dwarf coconuts from Brazil
to put where? To give to whom?
To try to see if it has viability here in terms of growing.
Have we met our optimum capacity when it comes to the coconut that we do have here? And that's the question that everybody needs to ask. A lot of times you see persons, you're operating at less than your production capacity level, and then you're going to go and bring something else to try to say you're bringing something. I know the PV administration, because of that, I know that whatever they're doing, there's some play at hand on the table, at the side, at the back, whatever it is. And that's my problem. You're going to bring it, and like the black belly sheep, what's going on with that?
I thought like after you got a big coconut like Jack Joe, you don't need no more coconuts in this country. But here they have Brazilian dwarf coconuts they bring in to try to see if they can get some like, is everybody coming here with an experiment?
In economics you learn about the production possibility curve, the production possibility frontier.
No, I don't know. Guys, I don't know.
You learn about these things, but just bear with me a little bit.
When I was in economics,
I'm sure that they're not on that line.
I was distracted by Shan Gupta. I was distracted. Shan was talking about all these production possibility curve, and I was just lost. I was just lost.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But in addition to that, you did mention how we faring with the black belly sheep we brought from Barbados. And then they also brought the Brahman bulls.
No, but let me just say something.
Animals, important animals, It's a whole full animal farm here, So in the last 3 months alone, you got the dwarf coconuts competing with me for land space, right? You got the Brahman bulls and you got the black belly sheep. So just now them full cock and be barking. It's a lot of experiments happening here, the bulls, them crowing. It's a lot in breeding. That's what's happening here. It's people experimenting.
They never have a system that is going to sustain the project, and that's my problem. Because the persons, let's be frank here about this, the persons that are actually going to be looking at coconuts and all that are persons that are used to dealing with coconuts and all of that. Because obviously, hopefully, let me not just say obviously, because it's the PVP we're dealing with, right? Hopefully, they're not going to be taking persons that deal with milk or something to put them to deal with.
You can bring coconuts, you can experiment and jack you.
Whatever, right? But
you can giant coconut.
But there's going to be, when you have a specific amount of resources, you have to choose where exactly you're channeling the resources. So if you channel to that, then obviously less resources will be channeled to somewhere else. And that trade-off there is what you actually look at. If you haven't reached the optimal capacity and the optimal production of one specific item, one good, let's perfect what we have already. Let's perfect our own before we get to that level.
We got the dwarf coconuts, we got the Brahman bull, we got the black belly ship, and then the Afghans coming.
Well, I don't know about my position. The
I feel like we're being
Afghans.
outbreeded. We got the Venezuelans, we got the, like the breeding
It's
out.
actually, it's very, let me tell you, it's very difficult for us as a country with less than 1 million persons to actually control what the PP is starting. It's very difficult. It has to be controlled from now. If you leave it for the next 3 years, we will be in a position that we cannot control because we will not. I think our own population will be overrun by foreigners, and that's a dangerous place to be.
Very much so. Well, I know this other headline here is going to excite you. 10,000 jobs lined up as funds secured for Berbice-based oil refineries. Right? Berbice-based 10,000 jobs lined up as funds secured for Berbice-based oil refineries. Take it away, economist, for that.
Well, actually, what I can say is that I don't have to ask you where the headline is coming from. It has to be the Guyana Chronicle or DPI or NCN. Let's just start from that position. It's okay. It's a Chronicle.
It's a Chronicle.
It's not okay when you can read a headline and know specifically where the propaganda is coming from. Right? When it comes to the job creation, I think
it's not with the oil refineries.
When it comes to the job creation, I think this is something that we've been looking at for quite some time. If I could remember clearly, I think it was Jagdio that went over at one of the estates when he was talking, when he had that meeting with the guys there. And I think we have that on actually tape. When he was talking to the guys and he was telling them basically that they need to go out and look for jobs that are in demand. And more so particularly they were looking for persons to see how much they could filter into the oil and gas sector. Problem is that the oil and gas sector require a different skill set level. So when you were saying 10,000 jobs lined up, the better question would be 10,000 jobs lined up for whom, in which department? Because I can assure you when you're saying Berbice base oil refineries, we're giving persons in Berbice the impression that these jobs are lined up for them. Right? So if they're like, oh well, we're making a mess with sugar. Basically, this is what this is trying to say. That we're making a mess in sugar. So we're going to have those persons now from there. We're going to inject them into this oil refinery. But then you have to go to the basic questions. Do they possess the necessary skill level? Do the government have a system? Does the government have a system in place to actually train persons? And the answer is no.
What I can tell you is Big Auntie can sell some plantain chips and some fried fish. And that's a down as employment. Then somebody else can get something else, right? They can say the spin-off. This is 10,000 jobs.
Yeah, because I can assure you that the jobs, the good paying jobs, the jobs that would give you a decent living and afford you a better standard of living, is not going to be given to persons that are not equipped with a relevant skill. We spoke about capacity over and over. We are not training people.
With all of these sugar estates reopening, where are they going to find 10,000 people for the oil and gas sector? Because I'm certain lots of them will be gainfully employed in the sugar estates that the PPP is reopening.
Yeah. I don't know why you talk about this sugar estates.
They can be reopening these sugar estates.
You know when you spoke about that? PP is not reopening any sugar estate. I don't know why Sherry wanted to force me to say this morning. PP is reopening any sugar estate, people. We know this. I told you this. They're not opening any sugar estate. They're least interested in sugar estate. They are kerfuffling.
They're kerfuffling the Guyanese
people, particularly the folks there in Berbice, because they want them to believe that they're actually doing something. These headlines don't come by accident, that 10,000 jobs lined up as a fund secured for Berbice-based oil refinery. It's not an accidental headline. They are basically putting it there to try to give the impression that they're creating employment for the persons that are there in the sugar industry, that basically the industry is failing, it's collapsing, free fall right
now. The big
issue
is going to be instructive. The big issue is going to be instructive because we can circle back to this discussion in the big issue. With we got lots of things brewing, folks, internationally this morning. We think you all know about just a couple of them. Internationally, a lot of stuff brewing. And first up, we got take your time. The Israeli, the former Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is poised to come back. They're wondering if he can be the second comeback kid in the last month. The first being just next door with Mr.
Oh, you're talking about Brazil.
Brazil.
Okay, lovely. Well, Lula is back.
Yeah.
Lula's back there in Brazil. Bolsonaro not really having it.
Yeah. Well, the folks said this can go either way. We can talk about that, Justin, too. They said this can go either way. But he's doing well in the polls, and a few persons saw this. You're preempting us here with the big issue, right? So Benjamin Netanyahu says that his camp is on the brink of an election win in Israel, and this would be such a comeback because he was almost forced out of power.
And that's
almost. It wasn't forced, but
it wasn't a plain.
Did it get tired of he?
It's not the out front. It wasn't the out front force out.
Collapsed and
it kind of was an indirect force out. You really do look at it.
It is what it is.
But we will be following particularly that, but let us see how that goes. But as we move forward there, I see that the headline as we're seeing it there, a takeoff of rap group, this is one that I've been seeing all the time. I've been seeing it all the time online yesterday throughout, and this guy there is
an influential musician
dead at the Houston party. Very, very influential, partly because I saw a lot of persons actually making comments online.
Very influential. And, again, like the age in which we live, human life is so cheap. And I heard some commentators saying that it's not just you have rappers that are being killed, but rappers so young, and in just a short space of time, in the last 5 or 6 months, you had about 3 rappers who were gunned down or, killed by some not natural causes, clearly.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a concern. And here you have this young man who is very influential, went to a party, I think, in Houston, and then some argument breaks out, and
just like that.
That's it. Believe it or not, that's it.
I think we take.
And that's brewing.
I think we take for granted the amount of influence that music have, particularly when you look at the depth of the lyrics that comes in music these days. And there's a lot of confrontational lyrics being celebrated by society today. And I think that there's a lot there. I think psychologists and psychology altogether will tell you that there's a danger. We're playing with a very delicate situation when we celebrate a certain type of lyric and a certain type of lifestyle, and then we see young lives being lost so recklessly. I can say that it's cause to be concerned, if I can put it like that. I know Trinidad have their own bit there going on, and a lot of persons there are attributing the level of violence, gang related
Jamaica
violence,
as well.
yes,
Jamaica as well.
to the music that the society is actually embracing. And so we have to be smart as a people. I try to always understand where young people, more younger persons than myself, are coming from, and I understand the need for expression and all of that, but we have to be very delicate with the balance and what we actually allow in society.
When that expression leads others to negativity,
yes,
then where do you draw the line and says,
because
we have to stop here?
Because the music is saying you don't take this and you don't take that. Basically, that's the line, you have to stand up, be this bad man and this and that. So what does it say to somebody when you get into an argument? Oh, I'm not supposed to take something from you. You're not supposed to take disrespect from you. Disrespect is this and that. They don't give way for actual reason and step back and come again and relax.
So a little argument goes out of control and take off his dead.
Yep.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers with his family and the community that loved him. Regionally, folks, we got some stuff that's brewing as well. Regionally, we got some stuff that's brewing as well. And we think you ought to know about. We know you're all fast and like no happening all around the place. So regionally, we got some stuff that's happening. Right? Brazil, folks, Bolsonaro ain't conceded, right? But his actions telling us that, he coming to terms.
Yeah, and I did see like how the headline says this, like Bolsonaro does not concede to Lula, but authorizes transition. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's in a position to authorize. If you ask me,
Hey, out. We coming in whether you like it or not. We coming in whether you like it or not, right? We coming in. So that's one of the things happening in Brazil. But look this here, they call it barbaric. Turks and Caicos, 3 dead. They found 3 persons dead in a parking lot in an area. One of them a toddler, the parents, the toddler, and I think an older child, the toddler was about 3, this toddler, an older toddler, survived, bruised and I think with some wounds of his own, but survived this attack on the family. Mother and father dead, and the toddler. And people are trying to come to terms in Turks and Caicos. In these small islands, you don't have a lot of violence happening. So when you have something like this, it's a real shocker to the entire nation. And so a lot of head scratching here as to what possible motive could have led to this. That is what that's what people are thinking about. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to the folks there in Turks and Caicos.
It's crazy.
Trying to wrap their heads around this issue. Who would want to gun down a family like this?
And just to remind folks, in the Turks and Caicos, I want to remind folks of the actual population size. And according to the 2021 number, that was the most recent number that we have available, it was 39,226 people.
That's a small community.
That's what I'm saying. Like 39,200.
That's the size of the entire island.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. That's the population there in the Turks and Caicos. So you understand when something as crazy as that happened, how it would rip through, because everybody knows everybody. That should be a simple investigation in my view. Everybody knows everybody. So for you to have that happening there is absolutely crazy. So our thoughts and prayers again.
Definitely.
With the family.
And of course, we gotta come to the 592 and Rita can say, oh God. With the 592 folks, and here's as we transition to the 592.
Ezra, catch yourself. Let me start.
You catch yourself?
Something.
You think Ezra catch yourself?
Ezra woke up and
you got
realized
medication.
Something. I don't know what happened. Listen.
Here's some things brewing in the 592. As Rita preempted there. Wanajil, Bishop, His Holiness. Wanajil. He said the theft from the CGIA is a serious security breach. Oh, yes.
Many months later. I felt like it was forever before he came out with this.
If a man could drill, could borrow his way, dig his way into the Chedijagan International Airport, which is supposed to be one of the most secure in the country, we could win the next election. You could tunnel your way into the PPP and dismantle them.
Listen, PPP is self-destructing right
now.
You
just
don't have
wake
to
up.
Tell you where anywhere.
One little just wake up and realize this thing's serious here. This security breach here. Serious. Man, just decide, what? Me went in a luxury airplane a little while. Tunnel his way into the airport. Tunnel his way. Serious. Serious stuff. Treat them. Take it away.
When you travel, right? And you did say something that was positive recently, and I was happy to hear that you are saying something positive. But when you travel, I think one of the things that we can say is that when you go to different airports and then you get to our airport, it's a different it's a different feeling, a different sight.
Let me just say this again. I'm going to do that.
You did say that you saw something a little bit different that made us a little bit
lower than the angels.
Right.
St. Kitts and Nevis airport struck me. Because them small islands, Antigua has a fantastic airport.
Barbados.
Beautifully kept in some. Barbados too, except the bus situation we had there. But, St. Kitts and Nevis got to pull up themselves a little bit when I airport there.
Yeah.
Got to pull up themselves a little bit.
But when we come home now, and
it's a little thing.
Well, first of all, it's only recently that
I am always
stop walking through the rain and so with your
looking for this airport when you're coming in night. I'm always looking for it. And then I know I land in darkness. I don't know how the pilots know this airport is there. But you just know you're on the tarmac. I'm always looking because I'm looking for the lights, You see when you're coming over the Demerara River, you can see the lights in the city and so on. But I'm looking for the airport, I've never found it in the night. Never. All I know is
you gotta go in the cockpit together.
It's right there.
That view.
It's right there. I don't find it. You see?
We said it was a very serious situation because currently we hear so many persons, and particularly representatives of the administration, actually asking persons to come and invest and do this and do that. And if you cannot guarantee security at the airport,
tunnel the way,
security in the airport,
right? And when I was growing up,
was there a while? Like it was a frequently used tunnel.
When I was growing up, there was an anecdote I heard. We trying to live that one down. We can't let it persist at all. Instead, Trinidadian Prime Minister, he'd know you home when he see the lights.
Sure, but you remind me this Prime thing,
Minister,
right?
Put your hand outside, and if you watch still there, if you watch, you guys at home. Look for the tunnels. Look for the tunnels. And the 592. Yeah. So one of them just woke up. Lord just dropping his spirit that this matter here is serious. You tunnel your way into the airport. Not only that, you got tilt to a private aircraft. And on the aircraft.
You just left for your fly away.
Yeah. Yeah. He has to wonder that because he's in charge of the civil aviation sector.
No, but it's super serious because the fact that somebody could get access to a private jet, it just goes to show, like, if there were very worse intentions of someone that wanted to access that, obviously it was wide open for persons to do that. And we have heard at an international level the amount of damage and destruction caused by persons that literally flew airplanes into buildings willfully, acts of terrorism and all of those things. So when you have an aircraft here that you cannot protect, right? You did the system and the security measures there were not sufficient to stop an ordinary person from actually going in. So whatever it was a higher level plot,
Yeah. I just want...
It's a whole airport this season.
One that's just saying, unless the Lord watch the airport, the watchman watch the veil. So you can tell me that. But you wake up this morning, you say, serious? Serious, and we can do something with it.
But if people can access the aircraft so easily, they can access and leave something on it just as easily.
Or you gotta probably even double check the manifest and so on, because people could
stow away and all of that.
Yeah, because even though you get visa-free travel, the price to get to the destination, you don't need visa for the price still thing. Like a seat.
No, I think it's very scary. I think it's very scary that was left.
The fact that the PP isn't government is scary. It's wild west from there. Nothing else should surprise us. Nothing else should surprise us. And while we're on that, we have also to deal with the bandits in Burbank. Robbed the Superbet yesterday. Oh, they tunneled into. Right? Bandits in Burbies. And that's one of the things brewing locally. And here this young man, Munishwar Ramkishan, he is the owner of the Superbet franchise there. And he said the bandits just come and with impunity start robbing everybody in Superbet. Take away people's phone, the wallet. With impunity, he said. The PVP promised a crime prevention plan. They promised to make Burbies great again and bring down crime. How are working out for us? And they can come and take a local government, vote for us. We can help bring down your crime. We can protect your Superbet. Protect the airport. Which would be a safe and secure place. They got to protect Superbet. And so the man is left again scratching his head. He's what in this country? Trying to catch a little hand in this hard guava season. Things like. And he said, bandits just come. You think patients don't want to go there in a hurry now online? Or get Superbet online or wherever you get Superbet from, you're running there. Now you know who's bandit or customer. You're running in quick. Number 6, quick. Better you run out back.
We have a problem with security. Yes. We've had it for some time. I think that's the point.
Yeah, watch your Ben gonna come down and say, this thing's serious.
Yeah.
Like, Bishop.
Crime is serious.
Yeah, right? Crime is serious,
Yeah. You've been saying this for how long? 2 years? It's very honest.
Because we see it every day.
We've been saying it for about 2 years.
It's like them boys got a union, the bandits, and said, them boys come back. Now it's free rate.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
It's wild west.
Same thing with the cocaine shipment.
Go forth and multiply.
Yeah. Same thing with the drug and the way in which the drug is trafficked in the country. Why is it that under the coalition, drug was not be traffic like that. Now it's supposed to be become. I think they meet and they communicate. And they have this large. They have the. I think these guys have a AGM. You know,
we boys know.
And so them boys
there. Or then say them boys they say we appoint you as president. You go in the AGM. Right? You can take president. You can take vice president. In the AGM. Let me go for it.
Let's go for it. It's a very serious crime situation here. It's nothing to play, nothing to laugh about, because I'm telling you that, and I keep saying it all the time, you do not wait until it's knocking at your door to understand the level of seriousness. Not because this is not a situation that is hitting home to you. The crime situation is a very, very serious one. And I always say that everybody, this country is small enough that somebody always knows what is going on. You know, somebody always knows. And we cannot keep sheltering criminals. Yeah. You know, we can't do that. As a society, we need to call them out. You know, everybody, we understand the level of poverty. We understand the difficulty, the socio-economic implications and all of that. And I am saying that we still need to get to a point that we do if you know your family is a criminal, don't shelter them. Don't be aiding and abetting with a criminal. That's not something that you want to do. If you know your neighbor is a criminal, you know you have to do something to make sure that you contribute to a better community, a better society. This is our land is our home. You know, we don't want, these are nothing nice for persons to be researched. Just imagine, you know, you are out there in some other country and you want to, you're hearing about this brand new oil and gas belt in Guyana, and you want to come to Guyana. The first thing you're going to do is go online and research what's going on. And this is what you're butting up with.
Buy alarm system for your private jet.
That's what you're butting up with. As soon as you reach at the airport, your private jet broken into. You can't go and do a little gambling on the super bet because the people coming in with gunmen coming in to deal with you there. You know, you can't walk with your wife at Stabrook Market. Them boys coming for collect the things to the left with you. It is absolutely crazy, and it's an embarrassing situation. So we need to get a point at which we call it and we check it. The PPL administration ain't checking it for us. Let me tell you, they're not doing anything. They are yet to actually devise a plan and put forward a plan that says this is how we're going to tackle this. The most we got from them is that we got high-risk Saturdays, right? And that's it. So basically, they said, don't do nothing on Saturday, I'll stay on your lock up. There was never a plan to tackle high-risk Saturday. Never, not once.
You know, high-risk Saturday has spilled over into any day of the month. And while we're on that, brewing also a GCOM with this Alexander and Donald Trotman, they said, we never be supporting this local government business here because they got a lot of foolishness happening. A lot of foolishness happening in the run-up to the staging of local government election. A lot of stuff happening. So we're not giving our support to this year. Right? And when you hear the issues, you know, them guys running from biometrics like, my Lord, running from biometrics. It's like Kwame and wedding. You know, you ain't going there. Running from it. Running from good governance. Running from it. All kind of foolishness happening. You come and, you know, Claudia just sit down. Sit down. Claudia just sit down. Right? All the time.
Well, I've stated my position here like many times, and I can repeat myself this time again to say that we have a system in place right now that is not okay. A system that does not protect against electoral fraud, a system that does not actually fix all the loopholes that already exist, things that were very clear and visible. So this is not a system that I can trust. And I have said that I want to make sure that everyone understands me very clearly. I have said that we need to send a very strong message. It is my personal belief that we should not be going into the election as is. I think it is a very dangerous space for us to be. I think we will be setting a precedent as it comes to the next election. It was all okay to a point when you went into the last election and you did not know all of the things that were happening. But to be here right about now, to be in a position of the know, you know what the issues are, you know that these issues exist. And for you to actually not act on it and just blindly go back into an election, I don't support those narratives. I mean I'm this is just my personal opinion. I keep repeating that because I represent also a political party, but this is my personal view, and I think that everyone everyone. These are the discussion and debates that we've been having at a large front. But I cannot see ourselves going into this election as is and then expect that any change is forthcoming for the next general and regional election. And that is my problem. You can't have a system like that. It's an impossible system. We cannot go into it like that. The PP administration will do everything in their power to make sure that nothing changes. I think they may be the only people that is against even talks of biometrics and all of those things. When you come to the IRI and the system, the discussions being had there, you'll be amazed, like the conversations that they put forward. They try to say that the issues are non-existent. They want you to believe that what you saw, things that themselves were highlighting, they want you to believe that those things are not so. So we cannot be in this position again. We cannot be repeating the same nonsense again. How do you go to this system,
Change your mind.
We went to the local government election 2016. I was there in 2016, actively participating 2018 again. All of these things. But I cannot unsee what I've seen after the 2020 election and when we went into those boxes at the recount. I cannot unsee all of those things. And I cannot just pretend it's not there and the system is not flawed and there is not scope for fraud and all of those things. So that's my position.
And while we talk about that, and heading to the big issue, Tritis is right up your alley here. The big issue today, guys, the big issue is what the World Bank telling us. If we had said it, them boys don't want to hear that.
We have been saying it.
If we say it, them boys don't want to hear it.
We have been saying it.
But they want to tell us, no, everybody here well-fed because we got black belly sheep. The well-fed because we got the Brahman bull. Well-fed because we got the dwarf coconut, the Brazilian dwarf coconut. Everybody full. But the World Bank is telling us this morning, folks, that poverty high in Guyana. Right? Poverty is high in Guyana. Very, very high. They said it is one of the highest poverty rates in Latin America, as a matter of fact. It's one of the highest poverty rates in Latin America.
Latin America and the Caribbean, you know? That is the most, how do we put it? We told you so. We told you so because we have been running the numbers.
Yeah.
We told you so because of there was no policy measure put in place to actually curb the issue. We told you so because every single budget since the PP returned in office, the country has been worse off, and your families and the standard of living of Guyanese have been reducing. I have been saying this from day one, and I will continue to bring this to light. But like I always say, that it is always absolutely great when we see bodies like the World Bank and so forth, and those reports are coming out to say exactly what we're saying, because nobody could say now that the coalition is directing the data that is coming out there from the World Bank and the analysis that they're putting forward. So I look at the PPP young economists and so forth that they push forward and push to the front, and they try to give this picture that it's not all fail and it's not all falling apart and that it's great and things are good. And I want to know, like, how do they tackle like these reports, because I've never seen them actually try to tackle these reports, and I love to engage with young economists and so forth to see how are you thinking, because you have to really rationalize what is going on in the country. Look at the resources, look at where it's being directed, look at the policy measures, and actually see if they are things for the most vulnerable in society.
Talk to the people.
This is a terminology that I utilize a whole lot when I speak about the most vulnerable in society. And I always tell you, the most vulnerable in society, those are the poor people in the country. And I keep repeating it, that these people, they're not of any particular race. They are not of any particular, they don't live in any particular region. Every region have them, every ethnicity have them. But I always say that when you come to the hinterland communities, they are the absolute most vulnerable in society. And when I look at the World Bank report just confirms, it just gives the proof to what I've been saying all the time, that those communities are the most vulnerable. I think one part of the report that's in poverty rates are the highest in the sparsely populated interior hinterland, where communities have limited access to economic opportunities. Remember, I've been talking about it. Remember when I say that the PPP administration love to say that they go into the hinterland and they tell the people, oh, we care for you, we care for your well-being and all that. And I say, you show me the wealthy indigenous person, you show me just one of them, then talk to me. We had the trolls come on and say, oh, you want to change the people's way of life and all that. You do not get to say that persons are subjective to a life of absurdity and just basic minimal when it comes to even food, and then get to go and tell them that the World Bank is saying that they are having limited access to economic opportunities. I have been saying,
and we've traced this, Rita, right? When we look at what's happening at Moroni Mountain with mining. People want what is beneath their feet on their land.
They want to have the benefit of the resources.
Right? The other areas, where's the other areas? Well, some of the other areas where mining happening, they're being denied that. So how could you say, oh, they want to live in poverty? In poverty?
It's absolute craziness. Nobody could bring up that well, I was going to say BS in the most rawest term, but nobody could bring that conversation to me. You understand? Nobody can come and tell me that this is a life that persons you choose because you're of indigenous ancestry. That's what you're subjected to. We have examples throughout the world with indigenous communities and indigenous tribes that are thriving, that are multi-millionaires, because the structure and the system have been set up to reward them and to actually give them and pay them for the utilization of the land that they occupy, that is rightfully theirs. And I'm not going to even finish with that conversation. Healthcare was one of the things that they talk about again in the hinterland communities. Public service and healthcare, and I always say, and it says here, the country experiences high immigration and brain drain, with 39% of all Guyanese citizens currently resided abroad, and roughly half of all Guyanese with tertiary education have immigrated to the United States there. And let me tell you, we know this. First of all, we know this. But when I talk about healthcare and access to public service and so forth, if we're having issues with healthcare in Georgetown, you imagine it in the hinterland, right? If you're having issues to get medication in Georgetown, you imagine it in the hinterland. You remember that child that died from a snake bite in region number? You remember that story, right? Nobody can come and bring arguments and try to tout and blow their chest and beat them, It's just absolutely chaotic.
We interviewed a woman
they
right
beat
here.
Their chest, blow their own horn.
We interviewed a woman right here who said the midwife made the baby fall on 2 times.
She gave birth on a bench. On a bench, that woman gave birth on. So when we talk about poverty, we said this over and over, that the measures that the PPP continues to put in place, it's always to prop up businesses, and there's a place for everything. And I always say that I always speak for small and medium scale businesses and so forth. There's a place for everything, but the policies that they put forward don't even benefit the small and medium scale businesses. We have seen the complaints coming when it comes to the actual private sector commission, and how they operate. And we don't have to tell you that. So but what it means that there are dark forces within there. There are dark forces within that. We know these things, and we keep bringing these points forward. There is a problem in our country. When Air Finale came and he said 7% across the board, I said it was going to cause the widening of the gap between the rich and the poor even more. That's what's happening. It's crazy. It's absolutely chaotic. You don't get to be here. I can tell you more persons are in poverty now than were in poverty in 2018 and 2019. That's the fact. More persons are in poverty now, right? And simply because their dollar is
unemployed as well.
Purchasing power of the dollar, the purchasing power of your money. That's where we have to look at it. Young people, and tell it particularly persons on university level, do not just go and sing a song to please them. Be analytical with every discussion that you have.
You were talking about in a couple of programs back. You're talking about, I think, what's the mid-year report we're discussing. The amount of people who have gone out of employment in the public sector, and the amount, for instance, that the guys sugar had gone up, but no sugar is
I can pull it up because someone asked me about that.
They got some trouble. Yesterday. They got some trouble, and that's why they're trying to shore up the numbers with these fictitious people that they're employing.
I have that right before me right now because someone was asking me about it just yesterday. So the Bank Again half-year report has reported that the public sector employment fell by 10.9% at the end of June 2022, and this was particularly due to the lower employment within central government by 17.7%. You know, and then it went on to say, however, that the sugar growing industry has contracted by 55.9%, and then Gaisuko's employment increased by 7.7%.
Yeah. So you're employing more people by producing less.
Right? You have to understand what the PPP is doing.
And then, like when you talk about, because we know primarily after that, the public sector employs a lot of Afro-Guyanese. So less being employed.
A lot.
Right?
The vast majority.
A lot of people
the
are
vast
unemployed.
Majority of the public sector
gone
employees.
out of the private sector, fired, forced out. But the sugar sector, not producing, but employing more people.
No, but
to produce less.
But the irony of the story is, and I challenge the economists of the people to give explanations and at least try to attempt to give a reason to the nonsense. Because the reality is that government is expanding. When it comes to actually having that GDP that they're projecting, it's not GDP because the country is doing better, it's because government spending is expanding exponentially. And when government
spending from oil,
correct.
This is not spending from any other sector, because we showed you again from the mid-year report, everything down, manufacturing down. Sugar production, as you said, down. Rice production down.
Yeah, they're done with
poultry.
They're not focusing on that. They don't have the technical know-how to balance half of what they're trying to deal with right about now. But government spending is expanding, and whilst government spending is expanding, central government employment has reduced by 17.7%. I want people to understand what is going on there.
Understand and understand, folks.
And while Gaisuko is not producing, they are expanding on their employment. How do you even make sense of that to the Guyanese people? It is a crazy situation that we're looking at right about now. But you know what we say about the inflation, man? You're going to repeat that this morning. But the inflation is the people just don't know how to deal with that and actually get it to a place where it needs to be. And I keep telling you that they are choosing to have the inflation rate where it is, and then I have my proof that is backed up from Bar Jagdeo himself, that took to a program with his people that he do programs with. We choose to do his interviews, and actually said, we have all these measures. They may be a bit inflationary,
a bit
inflationary. They may be a bit inflationary. I've been telling people that they are choosing to put measures in place that they know are inflationary, but guess what? They're choosing that because they want to say that this GDP is at this GDP is at that.
Yeah. And we're going to continue this discussion, folks, in our podcast today. We can't exhaust it, and there's so many parts we can break this up into. To drill down, not the fellow drill into Chalijagan, but we got to drill down into this issue here, and to get to the meat of the matter. Them boys is just poor governance, poor leadership. Right? Poor governance and poor leadership. When you see the World Bank, it says that New AFC, when we come and say, people suffer in this country. We've been going through Starbucks News' feature, what the high cost of living doing to folks. That's what the young lady said just yesterday morning. We read that out. Her comments, how things tighten. She can't even, afford the fancy steak. Right? The Wagyu, she can't afford the Wagyu.
But there's another comment that I want to make when it comes to poverty, because there's a particular video that's circulating, and I see the PPP, a lot of the PPP supporters trying to defend their position with the $28,000 that one-off there that is being promised, and the woman's basically saying that she don't have ears to hear it because she's in a situation that she knows that can't do anything for her.
They promised $40,000,
right? So she's in a position that she can't do anything with any $28,000. But the video is circulating, and I noticed a lot of persons come from the PPP, particularly trying to say ungrateful. This is what ungratefulness look like. And a lot of the people that are saying, and I'm going to say this without any apology, you do not make six figures, right? You do not go home to a life of luxury and then get to say that woman is ungrateful. You don't get to do that. You do not get to eat lavishly and then call someone ungrateful for not being appreciative of a $28,000 to carry you through a week. You do not get to do that.
You lose them at 28,000.
You don't get to do that.
You lose them at 28,000. You would be telling a different story as a one-off at 28,000. Right? And every time you got a little increase, their own going up, their 7% can be bigger.
And you do not get to call that woman ungrateful when your existence is because of corruption.
And clearly, that woman has worked all her life, served her country, contributed to NIS, right? Which means she paid tax. She paid taxes, that supported this country. And she's ungrateful. She has a right to speak.
She's a right to speak. You do not get to do that. People stop celebrating people that are corrupt. Stop celebrating the accomplishments of people that are doing so through ill and illegal means. I am sick and tired of seeing it. Oh, take a photo here. Oh, take a photo there. We have so many situations in which you see persons building and thrive, and you want to know how.
I don't want no photo. Right? I want a livable situation in my own country. Photo ain't gonna do it. Ask me how I feel with 28,000. I don't go to the shop. That's the problem. You must go to the market, not just for photo ops, but go to the market and buy, right? Enough of them don't live off the salary. You understand? Everything comes to them. They don't touch it.
Some of them don't touch the salary.
So they don't know what is happening in the market.
They don't check it.
Right? You better go out and listen to them people and hear what's happening. We're going to be back, folks. We're going to be back at 12. Gwen Anderson and Seymour George, DT Boy, Muriel King, Fazal, Bobby, and all the other guys who join us. We're going to be back at 12 o'clock in our podcast and continue this discussion. Then we'll be back at 8 this evening. Y'all gonna tired for see we face. Can't get me out of the place. That's not a good line. Someone to write a song about that. Write a song. Yeah.
You ought to put the lyrics in, do the dance and everything.
Nigga, tired for see we face. Can't get me out of the race.
Like a little bit of calypso on you. All right. Have a good day, guys.
That's gonna do it for us at our end. Stay safe out there, guys. Stay safe. You guys even waiting for me to come up. They just say, yeah, I'll go. I'm tired of y'all. Walk out the place. That's it.